Welcome at this Wonderware Wednesday webinar. My name is Mark Sating from Wonderware Benelux. I'm joined today by Peter Carlson from Wonderware Scandinavia, and we're presenting this webinar to you around the connected worker operating at the edge. As I said, my name is Mark Sating, Director of Operations at Wonderware Benelux, so the distributor for Belgium, Netherlands and Luxembourg. And starting this year, our sister company Wonderware Scandinavia has joined us. And so we're working together on these sessions, on giving you content about the connected worker in this webinar series. Perhaps Peter, you can introduce yourself?
Yes, thanks Mark. Happy to be here, even though remote and not physically with you, Mark, but that's how it is with the situations. My name is Peter Carlson. I'm the General Manager for Wonderware Scandinavia, attending here remotely from Stockholm area, and happy to sharing the content for this second webinar of the series. And as you all know, Wonderware Scandinavia, we are the exclusive distributor of the Wonderware and Cytec portfolio primarily, but also the rest of AVEVA. And we will touch base on that during this session, I'll promise you. So let's have a quick overview to start with, what this webinar series is all about, and go through them step by step, just to give you a brief introduction to it. First of all, there is an on-demand webinar available for you already. It's been out there for a couple of weeks, and it's all about the introduction of the AVEVA portfolio, and it will give you a broad overview of the extensive portfolio, breaking down to three main areas, and we will touch base on that later on. But it will give you a general concept of how the AVEVA tools can connect your business and workers. So if you haven't seen it, it's a strong recommendation after this session, before next sessions, please go and check it out. The next upcoming one that we will have next week, 28th of October, that is touching a
That's now
subject.
Today. Peter, it's now today we do the operator at the edge.
That's the one. Sorry about that.
No problem. And next week we will kick off with the perform part of the AVEVA portfolio, where we go into the connected worker managing the plant assets. So it's not something we will touch today. It's something we will touch next week when we pick that up. And it will be a Dutch and an English session as well at that time.
Correct. Thanks, Mark. And then there will be two more webinars, one by end of November, as you can see, 25th. And that will touch base on a different subject. It's more going into how you manage the data. It's a lot about the information. And the final one, early December, in this webinar series, that will be more related to the plant performance, and that is one thing that is very high on the priority list. Everyone is talking about digital transformation of the manufacturing operations, how the connected worker can improve the productivity and the effectiveness. And this is where we'll touch base more on the execution part of the AVEVA portfolio, MES and related portfolio into that product stack. So strong recommendation to follow us on this webinar series. There will be a good content, definitely. But for today, as Mark was saying, we will start with how the connected worker operates at the edge, and what does that mean to a business operation, and set some context to it.
Yeah, we're fully focusing on that edge to enterprise story we're putting in. So not only talking about the edge, but also how do we do things at the edge and connect that all the way through to the enterprise. And we're framing the concept of the connected worker inside this webinar, where we'll see that that connected worker is kind of the person within an organization that's really focusing on efficiency improvement by implementing digital technology. We will expand that connected worker theme, I guess, later on in the slides. But this is kind of the overall topic inside of all the whole webinar story, where we use that connected worker as the voice of the customer and really dig back into, okay, we have solutions, but what do they present and what do they offer to our customer base?
And just to emphasize on that, I mean, who is the connected worker? I mean, it could be the operator, it could be the maintenance manager, the planner, and even the CEO. everyone that needs data to work better, faster, safer, and more reliable. That is what we mean by the connected worker. So striving at becoming best in class, definitely. Just to put some context to the AVEVA portfolio and how we operate in the three areas. And this is really about how AVEVA is positioning the portfolio, the strategy behind it. And this is really covered deep dive in the first webinar session that is available on demand out there. And I recommend you to look into that. But to put some context, the engineering part, there's really where we support all the EPCs and end users, lowering the risk, time and cost in capital projects. We provide advanced design, simulation and training solutions for that. Operate side, which we will talk more about today, that's really where we support all the OEMs, system integrators and end users to run their solutions, facilities, plants, on a secure and effectively edge to enterprise. Perform, that is all about how we help customers to maximize the asset life cycle, focusing on the assets, the maintenance side of it, but also safety and compliance and taking the customers from a reactive situation to a more predictive and prescriptive working situation. And as you can see in the mid part of it, the center part, Connect, is really to show where all these three areas come together as a true operational digital twin, combining the engineering information with the asset information and the operational real-time information. And all those solutions cloud ready as of today. This is really the AVEVA portfolio strategy.
Fully agree, Peter. And today's focus is around that operate part, where we will show you what our entire portfolio is around that, where we focus on the monitoring and control, but also the MES, but also the manufacturing analytics part. We will not do a deep dive in it. We will give an overview of the solutions we have to offer and why they combine an integrated solution.
Good. So to put some context to it, when it comes to technology and the trends out there, I mean, we can always talk about what happened pre-COVID-19 and the aspects and maybe the new norm with COVID-19. But really from an edge to enterprise strategy perspective, our customers want to improve collaboration among the workers. We want to improve the operational and the engineering experience, and ultimately the agility of our competitiveness. And technology plays a very important role into this. Solutions should provide right information to the right person with the right context on the right device, also at the right location. And that is why this edge to enterprise strategy is so very important. And today we are in a completely different environment. I mean, more change has already happened than anyone thought possible 9 months ago, only 9 months ago. And the power of technology to unify the data and remove these silos has never been more important. It's also allowing specialists to collaborate and change business models in real time. And we believe these are top concerns for many of your teams, our teams. Unifying the data and helps you see these opportunities more clearly, boosting efficiency, and also optimizing the operations, and especially in these challenging days. We all know what is happening out there.
Yeah, and we really want to put in that user-centric approach, that everybody gets the data and the context that they need to create informed decisions. And to, as an operator could be, or as a manager, or as a remote worker, that they all have the necessary information to create that informed decisions.
So let's move in and take a look at what does this edge to enterprise mean for you. I mean, walking you from the edge, where really the machines, the assets are located, going forward into the control room area, where we have all the supervisory systems. You have the operation control, the operation information, work with standardizations, the execution part, the MES part of the company. Taking you further across enterprise, this is really where you all want the reporting, the dashboarding for casual users, whether it's finance people or quality people. This is really the edge to enterprise theme and the red thread between the areas.
Yeah, and also
please.
And also the possibility of not only using a total complete portfolio and needing all, but you can pick and choose the things you want and the things you need. If you need more a paperless environment and totally a paperless office, paperless factory, you really go for kind of a work tasks environment. But it could be that you only need an edge device collecting data and putting that into a cloud environment and directly integrating that to our cloud and not using our central control room environment. So it could be really a pick and choose environment where you can use it. It's all on the table, it's all available, and you can see what is beneficial for you. And if you want to use the total stack, that's helpful, but you can create point solutions and extend that to a bigger portfolio and a bigger solution.
Yeah. And what you see here on this specific slide is really where are these connected workers? They are everywhere. I mean, at the edge, you have the operators, you have a possible maintenance engineer needing the details at hand at this specific time, at this specific moment. In the control room area, you have the process engineers, you have the maintenance team, you have operators needing the overview of the lines, the plant, and all the KPIs associated. And above that, across the enterprise, again, all the reports, you need to have a quick view, you need to have the quality measures, management people needs to be engaged and wants to be engaged. And the software ties all these areas together and really interacts with any connected worker in that manufacturing or infrastructure operation, whether it's a hospital, building, or a campus. But the software ties it really together.
Here we're pitching that connected worker theme again and having a lot of buzzwords around it. But in the end, it's all around helping the mobile user and giving him the necessary information at the moment he needs it, with the devices he needs it. And really using that mobility part in there, giving them the context-driven digital insights. But it's also about collaboration, about knowledge sharing, about helping out perhaps the not so knowledgeable new operator that needs a lot of info and a lot of settings and rules around how he should perform his tasks, where the knowledgeable operator that has been working a long time can really handle only the things that go wrong and focus on improving the total tasks. So really about collaboration and teamworking there, but also about safety and efficiency. You want really to execute your work safely and efficiently and create that connected operation there. And there's a lot of things going on. There's artificial intelligence coming in, also in our portfolio, and we touch that subject again next week in the Perform area. But in the end, it's about humans that are making informed decisions.
Correct, Mark, and the human aspect here is really important, and the picture also shows that. I mean, it needs data, and we need data to perform our daily tasks that cannot be done by an artificial intelligence algorithm or a robot. We all have different skills and competencies that also needs to be shared and developed between the people, between the teams. Communication and collaboration, it's always a key for productivity. We all know that in our daily life. But the human aspect here is important when it comes to the job satisfaction, the well-being within the company. And we all know that that is already high on the agenda in many, many companies, especially in these days.
Especially it's even saying remote working, so there's a lot of necessity on there as well.
So going into the approach from a portfolio standpoint and what we call the platform approach and why we believe this is essential for a successful company. We believe it allows for standardization because standardization drives clarity and sustainability into a plant, into a line, into a corporation. Many of our customers that choose a platform approach, they immediately recognize higher predictability and also operational efficiency, and also ensuring that the business runs smoothly without too many hiccups. From a commissioning asset to operating, maintaining, and upgrading all these system operations, AVEVA delivers an open. We always talk about the hardware agnostic software platform from HMI, SCADA, MES, and IoT applications, providing some kind of consistency and efficiency across multiple facilities, sites, and departments. This end-to-end industrial automation platform, we believe, is the foundation for a clear IT-OT convergence.
Yeah,
there
and
is
create
a lot
that.
of inherited advantages, and I think Mark can share some of those.
Yeah, and you see that it's also about the platform's also about kind of the asset approach and about the creating a layered approach and also creating that overview of your environment and putting in a model of your assets that's all usable in operations but also usable on the perform side. That it could create that asset model that's easily being linked to the other data that's available there. So there is a lot of possibilities and interaction coming from the edge. Could be our own edge, but could be other environments that are available there. We on top create that platform that could either be a system platform approach, but also a site-tech approach. And then connect that again to the enterprise with our MES solutions. Yeah. So it's about being able and to have the connectivity on both areas and both sides and model that into a data with context environment.
So if we take a look at the AVEVA Operate portfolio that we mentioned in the beginning and take a more close look into the different stacks of products, and I will just give you the full picture here. I mean, everyone that has been working with us for some time have seen a picture like this, and maybe not the exact the same one, but taking you from the edge to the enterprise level. In a nutshell, AVEVA offers a very scalable and modular platform for everything that is related to SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition, but also manufacturing execution systems or enterprise manufacturing intelligence. You all know, familiar with the object-oriented technology, which really promotes reusability, it promotes standardization and maintainability, but it also shortens the development time required for applications. We have a fully integrated historian solution, so process data is logged on an industrial frequency, and it's always centrally available to everyone in the production. Software communication, independent software for communication with existing and new PLCs, controllers, and other devices, whether it's an industrial environment or a facility or an infrastructure environment. Everything is backed up and based on Microsoft technology. We have the Microsoft Windows operating system, we have the SQL Server and .NET. All these are the basis, and that also provides an easy exchange with common IT hardware and software solutions on a business level. On top of that platform, we have some function-specific modules, which then provide some great possibilities in the field of MES, as I mentioned, performance measurements, batch processing, work order management, or any other extensive real-time dashboarding. Development and management takes place from one central development environment. You can have different people, different roles working in the same project. Also, external SIs, OEMs can be included into that development environment. So it's really a very, very powerful platform.
Yeah, and it's the possibility of using some of them as an independent solution, like in an HMI solution that's connected to the below part of equipment and the interfaces, like in an InTouch or a site-tech solution. You could have that, and you can extend that with, for instance, a system platform and then a model-driven MES on top of that. And that can be extended with any manufacturing analytics. So there's a starting point for a lot of customers, and we have the integration capabilities of putting in the solutions for that total area.
So
and if we look at that total monitoring and control portfolio, we just show you the entire picture, but if we focus on that monitoring and control portfolio, we really see an edge to enterprise solution there. On the edge, you see there's equipment, there are assets, there are lines, there's a plant and a site, and multi-site and an enterprise. So there's different variables and different environments where our monitoring and control portfolio fits in. And in the end, it's about a lot of functionality. But we have to have connectivity, there's visualization, you can remotely operate. A number of them have redundancy in place as a standard solution. And you have history and analytics. And there are different ways of looking into those solutions. It could be a simple line, it could be a panel, but it could be like in a 50-meter wide screen like it is used in ADNOC, the Abu Dhabi oil company. So we have a solution that fits in those different areas and in those different solutions. And below you will see a monitoring and control portfolio that comes in with edge, InTouch, with edge for the edge equipment and assets. Could be a line solution as well. AVEVA Plant SCADA, the new name for Cytec. Perhaps some users know that already, but I guess in the Benelux area we have to adapt to that Plant SCADA name again. Perhaps a bit in the same in Scandinavia as well. So a Cytec solution. There is still InTouch, and we have System Platform and OMI. And some systems integrators will use it in different areas as well because they have knowledge of that solution. So it's a number of them that can do the same things, but in the end there's a lot of development coming from the central development team that's looking after all those products. So they're all to stay, but they can be extended, and they're all using the same development team and also benefit from that combined effort. Like they all use now the industrial graphics, so they can use the same functionality and the same vector-based graphics through all the products. If you look at the connectivity to, for instance, System Platform, the Historian, but also to our manufacturing analytics part, they can all benefit from that and be kind of a driver for that data coming in.
I mean, to really emphasize this edge to enterprise visibility, I mean, the key focus areas is really to support the empowerment of the workforce and the connected worker. It's really to support the agility when it comes to the operational side of the business, but also the flexibility and the standardization, as I mentioned before. And you can think about this as several use cases when it comes to the different areas. Whether it's you have many engineers, you have system integrators engaged, all work together to create and work on one solution. Cloud can be a really support and help here, reusing engineering work from the assets to the enterprise displays. You can have scenarios like multi-plant scenarios where you drive standardization. You want to have a common look and feel. You need to train people on that. Now we talk a lot about moving from the slow polling to using 5G networks. When that is rolled out to get the data, it could be how to document best practices within the company. We all know we have a new generation that is entering the plants. How do we keep the best practice? Integrating to ERP, asset management systems, field services. There is a lot of different use cases where all these different products have a purpose and can be very, very supportive.
And it has a long history all, huh, Peter?
There is a long history. So Mark, you are the oldest one. Please share your experience.
Am I the oldest one, Peter?
Taking us from left to right.
Okay, thanks. Now, when you see there's a long background in even in InTouch and also in Cytec or Plant SCADA that have a dating back for 35 years, I guess, at the beginning point of SCADA systems on top of Microsoft solutions. And in that time, systems integrators created solutions, and also the demos of Wonderware and InTouch and also in Cytec, they were kind of basic, and they were just giving people all information that was available from an I/O standpoint, because there wasn't so many I/O, there wasn't so much information. You created screens and mostly asset type of solutions or only a line solution there. So there was not so much data, and there was some flickering in, there was a lot of things in that was okay then, but now when there's so much more data coming in, it's not usable anymore, and we should really shift that to a whole different ball game, I guess. And we did that already around 2014 with the creation of situational awareness. We really used that high-performance HMI handbook and transformed the way we think people are easier to adapt and to gain knowledge from the data they're seeing. So we're helping them out in creating visuals in a layered approach that's goal-oriented, that you really, there is a need for attention, it drives you to that need, and it changes colors and it does something. And you also, the possibility of creating trend tails, so using history data next to the real-time environment and real-time data, and combining all that. And also creating kind of a hierarchy of screens, so creating overviews in a level of 1 display, then drilling down a little bit to a level 2. And that's also necessary because the SCADA solutions aren't only used for the assets or the lines, but are used for entire environments, entire control rooms, or even entire waterboards, where you see like in 14 or 15 or 20 solutions being brought together in one environment and one control room. And now we're shifting that again to the operational management interface, with a different set of techniques, more factor-driven, more mobile available, more responsive, easy to use and drive in to put that next generation worker in the usage of the things he knows. It's more UX based, so there's more possibility of a design of a solution, and not a technique that gives just all the technical information, but also put it more in a user experience way. And it's also bridging that gap between IT and OT. So, and also a combination of not only the SCADA data that we already know for that 30 plus years, but also combine that with geographical information systems, combine it with cameras, combine it with data coming in from other systems as well in one combined screen. And that's kind of that user-centric approach around those central control rooms and those operational centers that are there. So it's really a transformation we're creating, and that OMI interface is kind of the new thing that we already have against for 3 years or something like that, Peter?
Yeah, correct. Mark, what would you say if you would promote the OMI and give the two top benefits using the OMI instead of the traditional client? What would that be, Mark?
Yeah, it's really about the responsive interface we can create, and it's also because it's really vector-based and about the integration of things. That's really the benefit of OMI.
Yeah. And I mean, everything behind this is task-driven, it's task-oriented, and as Mark was saying, it's many different sources where you can collect data from and visualize this. So again, going back to the connected worker, what kind of information is really needed at hand at this specific time, at this specific place in the plant or at the line or in the facility.
Yep.
So it's very actionable, it's task-oriented, and as Mark's saying, responsive content, which is a big difference nowadays.
And the change in using those graphics and those industrial graphics is that you can use them for all our portfolio, but also first of all you kind of create a responsive interface, and then you drop in those graphics. So you kind of create the different possibilities that you see for your application, and that's the basis. And then on top of that, you kind of put in the graphics. So you create one unified application that's available in different formats. It's kind of a web-based environment that we now have in that OMI interfacing.
And again, really to support the different users, having different formats, and again, you don't need to re-engineer anything when it comes to the graphic interface. It's there, it's ready to go, whether it's a tablet format or a desktop format.
Yeah.
So if we look at this from a unified operation and unified visualization standpoint, it's really about the connected worker using our system and can look at the data in context. You use different data sources that is really brought to you in a smart and contextualized way, and you don't need to search for the right information. The information is there when you need it. Also, by selecting assets or elements, you receive the information needed from the process. It could be the ERP system, could be maintenance system, or the IoT devices out there in the plant. And you can look at the KPIs that is being calculated for you in the platform, and you can have a fast analysis and take actions immediately. And also, when you're not on the premise, you're on the field somewhere, you can use the mobile device to have the same insights. And all of this is really presented in a real-time window, which makes it really stand out from the rest, from the crowd, because data in context is usually only brought on the near real-time platforms like business intelligence integrations, various BI tools that you can use on the business level, but also on the plant level. It's really to look at the data in context.
Yeah, and a unified operations center creates kind of the next level of SCADA usage, next level of OMI usage that's beneficial for our customers. And it also is the integration possibility of the AVEVA portfolio from an engineer, operate, and perform perspective. You already mentioned the asset management you can integrate, but also from an engineering standpoint, you see a 3D view of the environment. You can integrate that and look to an asset and then directly in the 3D model go to the asset as well. So it's integrating of all those parts, and it's the real-time aspect. And for the new real-time aspect, we also have a solution, but we will pitch on that a little bit further, I guess, Peter.
Good. As I said before, I mean, there is a lot that can be enriched on top of the platform, and we have a concept, what we call the model-driven MES approach, and I will try to elaborate a little bit more on that. But it's really the manufacturing execution system that can expand on top of the supervisory and the monitor and control functions, really by work order management, tracking and tracing, as well as downtime analysis and some statistical process control. And AVEVA execute this with what we call a model-driven approach. It really means that we take the commercial products that you see on the left-hand side, the commercial products that is available, and we add specific MES application content, automation objects, the user interface, templates, etc. And on top of that, we add your specific corporate business processes. You have rules for execution, you have certain rules for certain processes, whether it's a sample in the quality area or any other processes that needs to be followed, going back to the best practice. All of these processes on top of that application content, that really creates your standard MES template for your specific needs. And if then it needs to be rolled out on multiple sites, we will then finalize that, because we always know that there will be site specifics that will change that template for site A, site B, site C, etc. But all of this combined, it's really allow for agile design phase. It's really allowing for an ensure compliance to business processes, but also an effective deployment at lowest possible risk. That is really what the model-driven approach is all about.
And in the end, it creates the content and being accessible on the devices you need it for. And it's also really minimizing the amount of content you have to create yourselves. It's standardizing the content, it's creating out-of-the-box functionality and user interfaces that you can directly use. You can extend on that as a systems integrator, but it gives you a whole basic set of functionality that you can adapt and create the business logic that's necessary for your customers.
And I think in the end, when it comes to these kind of projects, it's always about how to keep lowest possible risk. How can we be agile in the development and design phase? So we always have milestones and toll gates that we reach. We know where we are together with the customers, the engaged SIs, and the technology provider in the back end. and always looking at these business processes. So we, in the end, have a very effective deployment, because that in the end will also lower the cost for the total rollout.
And we create an upgradable environment as well if you go to new versions and all, because with the background and the back end is totally being created by that model-driven and MES approach.
So leaving the control room and supervisory and moving on into the enterprise environment, what's available in the cloud, how can we use the cloud, how can the cloud support us? We know that everything a connected worker needs is to monitor, maintain, and improve the production output. All of that is really within AVEVA Insight, which is the product name. It's really about cloud analytics. But in terms of uniting all the multiple systems, including IoT and the edge, to really gain the visibility and the collaboration needed to remove all the operational silos and in the end ensure some kind of operational efficiency. Within the product, we have some capabilities when it comes to predictive analytics, where we can help to provide early warning notification and diagnosis of equipment issues. It could be days, weeks, or months before failure. In the end, it helps to reduce equipment downtime, increase the reliability, improve performance, definitely. There is also capabilities in terms of a gateway to allow a single version of the operating truth for the ERP system, data warehouses, and all enterprise business intelligence tools. So we can connect to that and make strategic sense out of a production and operation data. And that also allows for many new connected workers. It could be finance that want to look into something of the industrial data and maybe discover new business opportunities, etc. It's all about attracting the new connected workers, definitely.
Yeah, we can share that data and give that easily to people on an app on the mobile phone. It's a fully cloud environment. It's on the Azure stack of Microsoft, and it's really user oriented. And it's also the background and the pricing is about the amount of tags you need and the amount of users you have. So it's easily you can easily set it up. There's a test environment for it. You can use it for 45 days and connect it to your own edge device or your own InTouch or Cytec environment. And just put that data in the cloud and see what you can do with that. And we'll monitor and do some things around that in the next webinar around the analytics, the manufacturing analytics part. So if you look from the total manufacturing analytics portfolio, so a little bit more than Insight, but it's about manufacturing analytics is about the process values and the data sources that we have already from, for instance, an MES, from an historian perspective, from a monitoring and control environment about alarming. It could be shifts, quality. And all that data is combined, connected to an intelligence server that's transforming that data into a data store that's available to use in tools and dashboard tools. And that those tools can be, sorry, one too fast. Those tools can be, for instance, Click or Power BI or Excel that you can use as to leverage on the data that's inside that data store. We will push out this manufacturing analytics story together with Yuri in the next webinar and go to take a deep dive in there.
And here is also a key driver, because going back to the connected worker, using both the real-time data from the process, but also this near real-time dashboarding. That combined package is really what we call the manufacturing analytics, because you need both sides. And with that, you can not only act in real time, but also to optimize processes by analytics based on the long-term data from the different sources. And that combination is, I wouldn't say the holy grail, but it's a key for success going back to do the analytic part.
Yeah.
Good. We are closing up, but we have a few use cases where I want Mark to share how customers have used some elements of the Edge to Enterprise. So the stage is yours, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. So we put in a number of examples to show how that usage of our portfolio in the edge to enterprise solutions there. And we didn't put really our product naming in, but we just want to show what the connected worker can benefit from this solution. Here you see a worker in a clean room at a pharmaceutical production environment. And it's really visible that he's using the touchscreen there. And that's an InTouch for system platform environment. He's holding a hand scanner. The hand scanner he's using to scan material he's using, but also to scan the equipment he's using, or the hosing he's changing, or the things he's doing. There's a weighing there, so it's connected to the weigh scales that are all there. And this is the environment where he works inside the clean rooms. And they created a total new factory there, which they engineered from a functionality follows process thought. So they really thought about, hey, which products are we going to make? What's the process we are having to create those products, and how do we create an environment around it from a building perspective, but also from a software perspective. They really wanted a paperless plant in that pharmaceutical environment. And this was their basic foundation layer of how they created this solution. In the end, they still needed to have kind of an access control system, a building management system, and an environmental health monitoring system, and a particle system. That should be different systems from the standpoint of the auditing companies. But in the end, they want to integrate that inside the Wonderware environment, where they created a central system platform that has connectivity to all the equipment inside the cleaning rooms, but also to the other external systems. They're using Edge, so the Edge device from AVEVA, on the mobile clients they have, on the mobile vessels they have. So they're putting equipment and stuff around in those mobile vessels, and that's on an Edge device, and that Edge device is, every time it's connected again, it's updating the data to the system platform. On top of that, they use a work order-based system and a recipe management solution that they fully create set points and recipes to all equipment, and that people are really driven and operators are really helped in the next steps that are necessary in that processed approach. So it's a full audit trail that's there with that recipe management system. It's connecting and creating the work orders that are created inside the ERP. It's downloading that, and it's usable for the operators. So it's really creating a fully traceable production process that's fully paperless as well. So that's one example. The other example is more about a water treatment facility. It's a big water board that has 14 water treatment environments and one central control room. And this is one 6-screen setup, but they have 6 environments like this, where they really have the combination of real-time data, but also the manufacturing analytics. So they really want to push and focus operators on not only looking at the real-time aspect, but also in looking back where they can improve the total process. Because they know their operators have time, because the normal process is under control, they need to kind of go into the habit of improving things. And that's where they need really the intelligence part in the manufacturing analytics. And at the left-hand side, you also see some things like asset health indication, where it shows where things are right and where things tend to go wrong. And this is using a full asset model inside the system platform, and it has integration with an asset management system as well, and using really that combined effort of real-time data and the near real-time data inside the analytics part. So it's about the combination and the connection that local HMI is still available, so each water treatment plant can operate on its own. So when it's necessary, the central environment could be that's not available, then they will execute it from a local part. There's a storm forward to the central environment where you really see that real-time KPI monitoring, and people are handling the abnormal and are improving the total environment. And in the end, they use then that manufacturing or data analytics for that. So it's a full stack of the monitoring and control combined with the manufacturing analytics that is in place at this customer. And the third edge to enterprise solution we see as a possibility, and it's already in use here in the Netherlands. It's a multinational food producer that wants to do energy monitoring over all their sites. And not even only in the Netherlands, they have sites in a lot of Europe. And what they put an edge device on every location that's connecting to the data, it's creating the context of the data, of the energy data that's put in, pushing that out to the inside cloud environment, and then create dashboards on top of that. So that in the end, they create those nice dashboards where they can really see and deep dive into every location, but also have an overview of why they use the energy and water as they use it, and is it because of a certain product, is it because of certain material, is it because of certain shifts. So they have the data in a lot of context, so they can actually improve and execute on all that data coming in. So this is the third example, and we use those examples to kind of show you our offering in the Operate portfolio, that you can use parts of that when you need it, and when your company is kind of in the demand of giving that operator or the connected worker that data that he needs. It could be an operator, it could be a manager. We really have that availability of solutions, and we put that. We already created this picture around the asset location, around the control room, and across the enterprise. But we now put some products in, isn't it, Peter?
Correct. And it's great 3 examples, Mark. Thanks for sharing those. It's really nice to see the different elements and how they are really promoting the connected worker as the interface to all of this, and fantastic. And just to summarize and conclude based on the picture, now you see the product names. I mean, when it comes to Edge to Enterprise, it's really about bringing together the AVEVA's vision across, going from HMI, SCADA, and all the visualization software, enabling the connected worker, taking from single assets up to the multi-site implementations, and really allowing them flexibility to grow, collaborate, also driving decisions from this expanded visibility into the operations. That's really what it's all about when it comes to the AVEVA vision for the connected worker. We all know that the connected worker somehow manage the device fleet on the edge, bringing all these data streams into the cloud for analysis. We can build a hybrid solution that also enable rapid decision making, again, based on a single source of truth. And I think that's what it's all about when it comes to Edge to Enterprise, single source of truth.
Okay, thanks, Peter. I guess that kind of concludes and put everything together around our Operate portfolio, and also the concept of the connected worker and the Edge to Enterprise vision we have in there. This was the second webinar inside a total of 5 webinars, where we'll elaborate and work further on that connected worker in combination with the total AVEVA portfolio we were having. So next week we will go for the perform part, where we do the asset performance management, and put the focus on there. And there's a lot to share around insight. You already mentioned a little bit about the artificial intelligence and predictive maintenance that we could use in there. And next week we will elaborate on that. Perhaps there could be some questions in. Did you see it? No, I didn't see anything popping in at the moment. If anybody has some questions, you can type in, and firstly in the chat, if there's anything we could work on elaborate on. I guess I don't see any direct questions now coming in.
But again, feel free to reach out for us. And as Mark was saying, please register for the upcoming webinars. We will continue with the same theme, but different angles from the AVEVA portfolio standpoint. Upcoming is the webinar next week. And please don't forget to look into the on-demand, going a deep dive into the 3 elements of the AVEVA portfolio. So with that, Mark, thanks a lot to you and to all of you that have listened to us. Mark and I wish you all a nice evening, and thanks very much.
Thanks, Peter.